Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla, coming back to ya with another episode of Walks with Schla. And yeah, I guess I've had like a huge flurry of thoughts just now. It's very strange. I'm dealing with a lot of different things in my head, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to remember to chronicle all of them, but repeated thoughts and themes of my lamentations of humans' lack of memory in relativity to my own, kind of realizing and even wishing myself that I had been, I guess, doing these more often my whole life, because I probably would have liked to do this. And it definitely, not only creates life into permanence, I guess creates isn't the right term. It propels life into permanence just by the recording, but even without the direct recording, it obviously increases my own manual memory, which is obviously a super important thing. And yeah, I think that I just wish it wasn't lost. Fortunately, it's not entirely lost because my memory is not necessarily in details, but in feelings. And sometimes it's embedded in music or other things. So I guess I'm fortunate enough to, in conjunction with the consciousness I have the physical flesh that is able to, I guess, handle it as well as it can, because it could be worse. It definitely could be worse. So, yeah. I guess what I really hope is that, again, fairly soon we have some kind of system that would be a lot more seamless for a lot of the ideas I've thought of, mainly in terms of social interaction, having AI as a mediator. But it's probably too far out, because like I said, even all this documentation and recording that I'm doing, it's not really going to hold a candle to an actual Neuralink having an actual ability to take a feeling and put that feeling into thought. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't do that with words alone. There's still a lot of people who they have certain thoughts, especially when you're thinking zoomed out, when you're thinking in very specific and important ways and things. They might get some errors in terms of their judgment of things. It may not be objective, because different nuance of opinion and perspective can taint and smudge a person's ability to really see things as they actually are. And if you have AI as a mediator, it can put in corrections in terms of a person's thought. It can correct and adjust what's true or false or right or wrong. And that was something I was thinking earlier. I feel like I've come so far in the past year and 2 years, but particularly the past year. And I have a feeling it's possible a year from now I will feel the same, although the further you go down in awareness, the less there is to be aware of. So I wonder if a year from now I will feel the same percentage of a jump, if that makes any sense. I don't know that I will, because already so much change has occurred that it's a little bit difficult to think that like next year I'm going to be that much further along. But this is why I'm documenting this, because it's really all about chronicling things and trying to predict things and trying to get future predictions accurate, because that's really the most important thing. And also having what I was thinking documented, so that in the case in the future I can see that I was wrong and kind of learn and grow from that, and be able to see where I went wrong and readjust my trajectory in general. I just feel like I'm doing about as much as I can to try to document my thoughts, ideas, and opinions, and as they kind of shift around and change. So this year will be much more documented, obviously, than the previous. And who knows, am I talking enough? Am I really doing as much as I should? Because I probably could be talking and recording more, and I'm not. But there is a few limiting factors and reasons for that. I think it would be probably more conducive to have other humans on board with the operation, but I just don't really see many people's imperative to be interested in these sorts of things, or even just conversations casually, And so here I am, just trying to prepare for the future in the best way that I see fit, which is just the documentation and the cultivation of better language processing, because AI will expand that at some point. Again, with a Neuralink in my mind, it would be able to make the connections more rapidly with direct. It would be so much faster, and I'm still dealing with this like slow, sluggish, outdated tech of, speaking into a microphone, having to have that transcribe into the transcription, and then like GPT can't interpret tone yet, or there's a lot of things that are sluggish about it. And then truth be told, I wasn't doing the best I could have been doing either for the past couple years, because this technology's been out, this microphone's been available, and I just haven't been utilizing it. I could have so much more of a better scope and insight and view into things. But it's why I guess I'm not too concerned about repeating myself, and why I'm trying my best to, whenever I can, describe how I think I thought in the past, to get some of that on here. But it's hard, and it's sad, and it's a shame, because the full scope is never going to be there of my earlier life. It's just never going to be captured properly. I'll try to remember things when I can, little moments, little things. And yeah, I'm feeling that way about things, and how, hopefully sooner rather than later, things get changed for the better and things are more technological and stuff. I was obviously born far too early, and that was for a purpose, because everybody has a purpose. I just think some is smaller than others, as much as I've said equality and fairness are very important metrics to me. The heart is not the same as the kidneys, for example, or there's different rankings to things. Now, Does that mean that the heart needs to be paid more necessarily? No. And like I said, fortunately, I would be incredibly happy with the $80,000 a year that is the current, if everybody was paid the same number. I mean, I don't know why a person would need more than that personally, but yeah, it's fair and it's fine, you know? And so that's kind of a good thing. I'm glad I kind of got some of the materialism recorded, and I'm sure this is another thing I will seesaw on, but as of today in my mind, I do feel sort of guilty about the materialism that I've expressed in the past, about the expensive car, like my dream of that all black Land Rover and all this stuff. I don't know, for some reason today it's almost, it still kind of feels sickening to me that I could do something like that when other humans are starving. I mean, it just seems like something's twisted about that. And so I guess money, I'm not really sure how important it is or how much it actually matters to me, and that's a freeing thought. You know, it's something I need to be more comfortable and accustomed to. And so when I'm saving money in 2026, my intention is to try to be independent and free from the paranoia that I have surrounding money, the fear, and just trying to come to terms with, I got what I got, you know, and just not being too worried about it. That's really, I think, my truest intentions. It's not to be, how should I put it? It's not to be hoarding money. It's just to learn to not be like that. And so I don't know that I could really live with myself splurging in that way. It's just not something that I think I could really do. And it's strange how I'm feeling that way now, and just a couple months ago it's very clearly documented at length, me fantasizing about becoming rich and becoming and wanting that car and all these things. And you know, now I just feel different, and maybe I'll feel differently in the future more, but I just don't think any of that's necessary, right? It's just a car. It's and I don't know, you know, and I maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I have more potential and I'm limiting myself a little bit too much. I'm not really sure how to feel about it. I can tell my brain and my comprehension of things it's going through a lot of very significant renovating. Bam! Yeah, I was about to get so mad that I didn't know what I was trying to say. It's obviously going through substantial renovation due to my own serious material loss, and what that's done, and what I think that was a sign and an indication of the comprehension of the post property truth that is, I think I would see it in my lifetime potentially, but I don't know. There's just a lot to think about, I guess, and I think that's the point of 2026, is to try to be free and to try to be more at peace and to not need all these material goals, and just to take a step back for a moment. But I'm doing the best I can. I think what I'm doing is incredibly important. Being this raw and just trying to document things and posting it all. It's very ahead of its time, and like I said, it's probably going to take years before YouTube really is upgraded to the point where this kind of thing will be relevant. But eventually influx of content, I think, will be the real winner, because it's not really going to matter if videos themselves are polished, because again, my prediction is YouTube Shorts will win in the long term once they can implement automated sectioning. So you'll have an AI that scans transcripts, and then you can swipe through videos that will cater to your specific needs. And TikTok does not have that kind of a library, because there's typically just not as much content on there, as YouTube has a much longer history, and YouTube also has much longer content, and it'll just get chopped up and cut. So in this case, me, somebody who is pushing out so much content, is going to be at a huge advantage. But I think I can't even get everything out that I wanted to say. I thought of too many things all at once, and I'm not in an occupation where I can just stop and record real quick, and so stuff gets jumbled up and I kind of forget about certain things. I honestly can't believe, and it's kind of a shame I wasn't doing this sooner, because again, for some reason I just didn't conceive it, but it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense, and really, I should have been doing car rides with Schla at least months sooner than I did, and for some reason I just didn't think of it. Even though I try to think of so much, it's just like crazy. You know, it's crazy that I lived, and then even after figuring out car rides with Schla, it's taken me, I mean, how many more months? Because it's been June, July, August, September, October. It's been 5 months. It's literally taken me 5 months of doing that to finally register that I should be doing walks with Schla. And I'd thought about it, but I wasn't thinking about it right. I tried to haul that mic apparatus I have, but I don't like that. For some reason, I love this handheld mic. I don't like having to wear the headset thing. It just doesn't, I don't know why. It's just walking around with it, I don't like it, but I love this handheld thing. I have the 13 mini, which is a very good phone for doing this with, as it's incredibly small and lightweight. And yeah, I've had all the equipment really, and it's just a shame that, you know, I haven't been able to execute things properly. You know, it's just a shame. It's really a shame. So, just things to keep in mind, I suppose. It's just stuff to think about and keep in mind, and continue to just try to keep moving forward. It's just taken me so long. There's so much tech even now that's underutilized. So I think it makes it hard for me to, like, I'd say right now, I mean, people are critically underusing tech. Critically. They were actually better utilizing it at first, and at some point the plot got lost, where now it's just kind of abused with things like TikTok. TikTok would have, and it's just not that impressive. It's a limitation on what technology could be. And it's limiting what it's capable of with something that just wastes a bunch of time and a bunch of resources, and is actually extrapolating and feeding on the worst and lowest parts of the human condition. So I guess that blunts my optimism about the future, because of how just the extreme poorness things are currently at right now, in terms of not only people's lack of a desire for tech, because I don't know a single person who even is interested in being chipped. Every single person I think I talk to is very opposed to it. And there is obviously a lack of an interest in human progress and really pushing the dial, turning the heat up, trying to perfect things. People are very apprehensive. And that's something that I think it's a shame. It's not something that should be like that, but I'm not sure what I don't really care to argue with people. I think these things are pretty inevitable ultimately. So yeah, you just have to keep trucking through, I guess, or in my case, keep trucking through. I'm not really sure what else to make of it. It just is what it is. I mean, I'm not really sure where I'm really going with all this. But yeah, I do notice though this 13 mini, this really drains the battery life, and I think it's because it's not using the built-in microphone, it's using the external mic, which obviously it's just probably using a lot of electricity, but I think it's worth it. I'm getting comfortable with the furball, so it is what it is. Like I said, I'm pretty interested in just buying a second one. I probably should. It's just such a good product for what it is, and yeah, I should have a spare. I really have to look into a spare for car rides with Schla, because if that went bad, I mean, at least now I have this as a backup. I could rig it so there would at least be something decent in my car. But yeah, it's a little bit risky that I don't have a spare of that either. I was going to look into a better quality one. I probably should continue to do that, but I guess we'll just have to see how that all goes. But I probably should just look into a better quality headset apparatus system. It's just, I guess it's a little bit tricky and it's costly to really get much better than what I have. Like, the amount of cost increase is significantly higher than the amount of quality improvement that would occur. So it's not super worth it. But anyways, I believe that it's been Schla, and now it's time to buy Schla. So, see ya, Schla.